I raised her like my own, but now she wants me back after cutting me off. My daughter cut me off when she discovered I wasn't her biological father. Now, 6 years later, she wants me to walk her down the aisle because her real dad passed away. I told her no, and moved on. Hi Reddit. First post here. I met Elena when she was just 3 months old. Her mother, Claire, and I had been casually dating for a few months when she revealed she had a child from a previous relationship. She told me the father wanted nothing to do with either of them. I didn't back away. I didn't think twice. I fell in love with both of them. By the time Elena turned 2, Claire and I got married. I officially adopted Elena when she was 5. I can still remember the exact moment she started calling me Dad. It was on a quiet car ride home from preschool. She asked if she could have a dog and added softly, "Please, Dad." That one word hit me like a wave. I had to pull the car over to process it. From then on, I was all in. I raised her like she was my own flesh and blood. Birthday parties, skinned knees, endless talks about growing up, boys, heartbreak. I helped with every late-night school project, never missed a graduation, never skipped a doctor's visit. I wasn't just a dad in name, I was her dad. When she turned 19, Elena came to me with questions about her biological father. I'd always known this day would come. Claire and I had agreed long ago that we wouldn't hide the truth, but we'd wait until she was ready to ask. So I told her what I knew, his name, where he used to live, the bits and pieces Claire had told me. A month later, she was gone. Not physically, but emotionally. She'd found him. His name was Mark. He welcomed her with open arms. Suddenly, her social media was filled with photos of the two of them, on hikes, having dinner, smiling like they'd known each other forever. Apparently, Mark had changed. Found religion. Got sober. Or so the story went. 2 months after reconnecting, Elena stopped speaking to me. No more texts. No calls. No holiday visits. On her 21st birthday, I mailed her a card. It came back unopened. Claire and I divorced the following year. I wouldn't say Elena caused the split, but her silence exposed the cracks that had always been there. Claire told me Elena just needed time to figure things out. She still loves you, she said. But it didn't feel like love. It felt like being discarded. 6 years passed. Then, last winter, I got an email from Elena. It was short. Just one line. "I need to talk. Please." I didn't reply, not because I was angry, but because I wasn't ready. 2 weeks later, she showed up at my door. She looked older, more mature, but there were still glimpses of the little girl I remembered, in her eyes, in her smile. "I'm getting married," she said. "His name's Daniel. He's good to me." I congratulated her, not sure where she was going with it. Then she said, "I want you to walk me down the aisle." The air felt like it stopped moving. I asked her, "Why not your father?" She looked down. Mark passed away in August. Heart attack. And there it was. Not reconciliation, not healing, not love. Just the need to fill an empty space. A role she needed someone to step into. "I can't do that," I told her calmly. "I already grieved losing you once. I'm not going through that again." She looked stunned, but she didn't argue. She just left. I figured that was the last of it. Then Claire called. She had seen Elena and said she was a mess. "There's something you need to hear," she told me. "You deserve to know the truth." As it turns out, Mark wasn't Elena's biological father either. Claire admitted she had lied. When she reached out to Mark, she told him he was the father, thinking she was giving Elena something she'd always missed. Mark believed her, wanted to believe her, and Elena, desperate for a sense of identity, never questioned it. No DNA test had ever confirmed anything. The truth was, Claire had never really been certain who Elena's biological father was. When she finally came clean to Elena after Mark died, it shattered everything. The bond Elena had built, the belief she'd finally found her true roots, it was all a story. A comforting illusion. The man she'd chosen instead of me turned out to be a stranger, not just emotionally, but biologically too. Someone with no ties beyond the fantasy she'd wanted to believe. Claire told me that Elena had been struggling to come to terms with everything. Asking me to walk her down the aisle, she said, was Elena's first attempt to make things right. But here's what I couldn't explain to her. I wasn't broken. I didn't need repairing. I had done everything a father should do. I'd given love without limits, stood by her through every chapter of her life. And now, after chasing a dream and finding out it wasn't real, I wasn't going to become her backup option just because the fantasy had collapsed. So I wrote her a letter, not out of anger, but to give her clarity. I raised you because I chose to, not because I was forced to. You made the decision to walk away, and I respected that. I'm not bitter. But love that's abandoned doesn't wait on a shelf to be dusted off when it's convenient. I hope your wedding is filled with joy. I hope your future is full of love. But I'm not the stand-in. I was the first choice. You walked away from that. She never replied. That was 6 months ago. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I made the right decision. I imagine her in that white dress, looking around the venue, maybe hoping to see me sitting there. But other nights, I think of that quiet moment years ago, Elena, just a little girl in the back seat, softly calling me Dad for the first time. That moment was real. That belonged to me. And in a world where facts can be rewritten and memories blurred, I've learned to hold tightly to what was true, even if it's no longer mine. About 3 weeks after I sent the letter, I received a voicemail. It was Elena. Her voice was quiet, trembling. "I'm sorry, Dad," she said. "I know I don't have the right to call you that anymore, but I don't know what else to say. I was wrong. I was young. I thought I needed answers. But I didn't want you to be the wrong answer. That wasn't fair. I was angry, and I turned on the only person who never lied to me." I listened to that message 3 times. Then I erased it. Not out of cruelty, but because it felt like someone knocking on a door to a home I no longer lived in. A few days later, I was out running errands and spotted her, Elena, walking out of a cafe. She looked thinner, a little worn down. Not unhappy exactly, just different. She didn't notice me. I stood there for a minute, just watching her laugh with a friend, coffee in hand, gesturing animatedly like she used to when begging me to let her go to sleepovers. Then I turned and walked away. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her voice from the voicemail, not the words, just the ache behind them. I called Claire to ask how Elena was doing. "She's lost," Claire admitted. And for the first time, her tone didn't have that usual edge of control. "But she's trying. She's in therapy. She talks about you all the time." I didn't respond. What could I even say? That I was proud of her? That it didn't matter? Claire sighed. "I know I broke everything. I know what I did can't be undone. But she didn't know better. I did." I hung up without saying goodbye. 3 days before the wedding, I received another letter, this time, handwritten. "I won't pretend I deserve anything. Not your blessing, not for you to walk me down the aisle. But I need you to understand what you gave me. You didn't just raise me. You built me. Every good part of who I am comes from you. I chased something I thought I needed. And I turned my back on the one person who never asked me for anything. That's what shame is. I've carried it for 6 years. I didn't ask you to walk me down the aisle because I needed someone to fill in. I asked because if I have children one day, I want to be able to tell them I made things right with a man who taught me how to love. I know you probably won't come. I understand. But if you change your mind, second row, aisle seat, right side. It'll be empty. Just in case. I folded the letter and placed it in the drawer by my bed. On the day of her wedding, I didn't shave. I didn't put on a dress shirt or grab my car keys. I mowed the lawn, fixed the squeaky gate hinge that had been bothering me for weeks. By midday, I was sweating through my shirt, and the whole neighborhood was unusually quiet. I sat on the porch for a long time. Part of me wanted to go. Part of me wanted to offer her the forgiveness she was seeking. But forgiveness isn't magic. It doesn't erase choices. It acknowledges them. It says, I see what happened. I understand. But I can't unlive it. I didn't make it to the church. I never sat in that empty seat. A week later, a small envelope arrived in the mail. Inside was a photograph. Elena in her wedding dress, standing next to her new husband. And next to her, where I would have been, stood Claire. She wasn't looking at the camera. Her smile was soft, almost unsure. But I could tell she'd left that space in her heart unfilled. Tucked behind the photo was a note. 4 simple words, written in the same handwriting as the letter. You were always, Dad. Do I regret not going? Some days, yes. Other days, no. But I keep the letter in my nightstand now. And the photo. It's pinned to my fridge. Not as a symbol of reconciliation, but as a reminder. A testament to love, and what it can cost. You can pour everything you have into raising a child. Love them deeply. Shape their world. And still lose them. That's the quiet, aching truth of being a parent. It doesn't come with promises. It gives without contracts. And sometimes, if you're lucky, love returns. Not as a grand gesture, but as a whisper from afar. A soft thank you that echoes when the world is still.